Hello, today we are going to solve October 2022 paper question number 3. Job lot manufacturers metal components. It has two production departments, machining and finishing. It also has two service departments, stores and administration. Hours, what is the product amount they need? Based on that, you are going to prepare a quotation. So that is identify two types of industry that might use job costing. So car repairs or house building. Okay, these are the two types of jobs that could, and many others you can quote. Okay, which where you will identify my hours spent on the job is going to be different because the requirement is different, so the hourly spent, okay, is going to be different. So there you identify, you might have to do a job costing as per the hours spent, okay, and how many units you will be able to produce. Okay, all those you will use and prepare job costing. Then calculate the total overheads using continuous allotment method. Okay, I have certain overhead expenses incurred in the business. I am going to allot or reapportion, okay, reapportion the overhead costs of some departments to two major departments, stores and administration. The overhead I will take, okay, it also has overheads. So these overheads will be small. I will take and reapportion it to the machining and finishing department, which are the major departments, and thereby I will calculate my hourly overhead cost for preparing a product, and that I will use for my job costing. So what is the overhead, allocated overhead cost for each department that has happened in the year? So machining has had 50,000, finishing had 30,000, stores had 25,000, and admin had 27,000. Okay, stores overhead cost, and I will reapportion it first to the finishing and the machining department. So I will try to do this continuously till both overheads has become zero, okay, or it has reached a small amount, okay, where I can't apportion anymore, or where I'm left with no more overhead values. So the first one is I'm going to take the stores, okay, overhead cost. Okay, I will have to reapportion, means it will, this value is going to be reduced by 25,000. So this 25,000 I will have to pass it on to the machining, finishing and admin department in the ratios of 60, 30 and 10%. So let's calculate that. So 60% of 25,000. So that is equal to 0.6 times 25,000, that is equal to 15,000. Okay, 15,000 I will have to pass. Then 30% of 30% of 25,000, 30% of 25,000. So zero point 0.3 times 25,000, that is equal to 7,500. So 7,500. Then I have 10%. So 0.1 times 25,000, that is 2,500. Okay. So these are the costs, 2,500. Now let's take these, and I'm going to distribute this entire 25,000 as 15,000. Okay. I have then I have split 7,500, 500, okay, and then 2,500 for the administration. So 2,500. I have taken this 25,000 and distributed to machining, finishing, whatever is my the overhead cost it has, and I am going to distribute to machining and finishing department. 1,500 plus 2,500. The value is 30,000. Now I will have to remove this 30,000, okay, and I will have to split it among machining, finishing and stores. So in the ratio of 50, 30 and 20. So 50% of 30,000, that is equal to 15,000. So it is 15,000. Then you have 30 percentage 0.3 times of 30,000, that is equal to 9,000. And then you have 20 percentage of 30,000, which is equal to 6,000. So now let's discuss 1,000 coming from the admin department, 15,000. Okay. And then I have 9,000 coming from the admin department to the finishing department. So I'm getting the cost of this to add up here, and then 6,000 to the stores. So now we see that store. So then again you have to take stores. Okay. Then the value now is going to be equal to 6,000. Okay. I am going to use 6,000 to distribute in this ratio. So 6,000, 6,000 and 6,000. So the values are going to be 60 percentage of 6,000, that is 3,600. 3,600. Then 30 percentage of 6,000, that is 1,800. Then 10 percentage of 600. Okay, that is 600. 10 percentage of 6,000, that is 600. Now let's write the values. Okay, so you will have 3,600, and then you have 1,800, and then you have removed. Okay, this one I am removing it, so you write it immediately. I am turning it into 0. Okay, I am removing the entire amount here, and then this is 600. I still see 600 has come in. I have to remove this 600 from the admin and distribute. Okay, second value. So then you again we have to distribute administration costs of 600 in the ratio of 50, 30 and 20 to each department. So now it will become 600. Okay, 50 percentage of 600, 30 percentage of 600 and 20 percentage of 600. So 50 percentage of 600 is going to be equal to 300, and 30 percentage of 600 is going to be 180, and then we have to 20 percentage of 600 is 120. So let's put that values. Okay, so you will have 300, and then you have 180, 180, and then you have 120. Now I still have to remove this 120 from the stores again. Okay, so I will use the stores. Okay, and then I'll have to distribute among machining and finishing department. So 120 I will distribute in the ratio of 60, 30 and 10. So 120, 120, this is also 120. So 60 percentage of 120, it will become 72 pounds, and then 30 percentage of 120 is going to be 36 pounds, and then 10 percentage of 120 is going to be equal to 12 pounds. Administration of 12 also. Okay, so I told you have to do it till it turns into single digits. Okay, so you will again distribute the cost in this ratio. So 50 percentage of 12 pounds, 30 percentage of 12 pounds and 20 percentage of 12 pounds. So 50 percentage is going to be 6, 30 percentage is going to be 6, that is I can write it as 4, and then you have 20 percentage of 12, 2.4, okay. So now let's write the values. It is 6 and this is 4 and this one will be 2.4. So 2.4. Okay, if you remove 60 percentage of 2.4, 30 percentage of 2.4 and 10 percentage of 2.44, this value is going to be 1.44, and 30 percentage 0.3 times of 2.4, that is 0.72, which I can assume it as 1, okay, 0.72, and then 10 percentage of 2.4 is equal to 0.24. So this one I will assume it as 0. Okay, now this has become 0. Okay, and this I can assume it has contributed as 1. Okay, 1. Here also I will round it off to 1. Now let's add up all this. Okay, so when you add up, the values are going to be equal to 15,000 plus 15,000 plus 3,600 plus 300 plus 72 plus 6 plus 1. That value is around, and plus 50,000, okay, at the beginning. It has its own allocated cost. It is 83,979. Okay, 83,979. And then you have finishing costs. So let's add up all this. So 30,000 plus 7,500 plus 9,000 plus 1,800 plus 180 plus 36 plus 4 plus 1. So that is 48,521. Okay. 48,521.